From the MDR studios in Davenport, Iowa, Quad Cities, you're listening to Minor Disturbance Radio. About all things that rock and some that suck.
Red lights.
Red lights.
Red lights at night.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
dude.
Minor Disturbance Radio, episode 88. And what are you doing, Chris?
I'm looking at old pictures of Tripmaster.
Awesome, man.
Jesus.
Uncle Roscoe's outside.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. Put
dude.
that up by the camera so we can all.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I
I got a ton of them.
I can
Yeah.
actually professionally put that in the
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I forget. I do have editing software.
Now wait a minute. Professional. Doesn't that mean you get paid to
Dude,
do
this
something?
is episode Len Swan, right?
This is-
episode
yeah.
Len Swan.
First of all, let everybody know I have no idea where these cameras are pointing. So I know that you two are on camera. I have no idea what you look like, Travis.
I look like
and
a dope,
me,
I'm sure.
I looked at my angle before, and I think I'm yellow. Somehow that light turns me yellow.
You're yellow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you were young once.
Jesus.
17.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
This is weird because it looks like Marty has his hand on Wes's leg.
Yeah, it does.
No,
It's not.
Let's just clear this up right now.
Okay, first of all,
the light.
that is the one and only Chris Bernat over there. He's French now. From Tripmaster Monkey, and Marty's here. I'm not going to say your last name.
Rayhons.
It's Rayhons.
Rayhons.
Very
Rayhons.
German. Very German and Czech.
Okay. The drummer for Tripmaster, and we're going to cut loose
Yeah, let's do
and
it.
talk about rock and roll in every which way, every hole that we can find.
Well, I've been thinking about questions all day. I'm sure you probably have some questions.
I haven't thought about it at all.
So I have. I've been thinking about it all day, man. I've been looking
Yeah.
forward to
Yeah.
getting you guys in the spotlight here
Cheers.
because,
Yeah.
you know, I've known about you guys and have interacted with you personally, and
Your dad did our mailing list.
that's right. My dad did your
on his
mailing list,
printer that
and
used
obviously
to crap out all the time.
all the time. Yeah,
He ran
right.
out of ink in one run.
It was like an Okie data, you know. It was all
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
dot matrix.
It
put in
was,
the graphical
man.
mode.
I
It was
remember that.
Awful, awful.
He was the first guy that was like, "I've got this data. I'll be your data guy." I'm like, "What the hell's data? What are we talking
Is
about?"
that
was
that
that
guy
guy
on
in
Star Trek?
Yeah.
Okay, what year are we talking here?
92.
92.
So you'd already been together for a while. So the band got together in late '87.
Yeah, your promo said 87.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking that's the height of like Bon Jovi.
Right?
Yeah.
That era. You
That
know?
was,
still
that was
probably
U2
go-
Joshua Tree for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
See,
right.
now I did my due diligence and I Googled, the top rock records in 93, just because I figured
Yeah.
that's when you guys actually hit. And that's when U2 was brand new, kind of new to
Brand
us.
huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, brand
And
huge.
and I think In Utero, Nirvana just
Utero,
released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all brand new stuff. You guys were on the edge of that new, you call it indie rock movement.
At the time, I
Indie
thought we
college
called it
rock.
like alternative.
Alternative.
Yeah, alternative
Yeah.
rock.
See, now
yeah.
I hated that because I was
Yeah.
like, alternative to what?
to what?
Alternative,
Right.
is the
Alternative to
shit you're
everything
listening
else?
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
really
know,
what
man.
it was.
I know.
But like REM, probably. I mean, you guys were on board with that. Like, I didn't like REM at the time, but
We
that probably
loved
you guys would have
REM.
loved REM.
Yeah.
I think you've said too much.
No, well, that's me in the corner.
right? What can I say?
Listen to your religion.
Okay, because what I want to get to here is, and usually when we do the Minor Disturbance Radio podcast, it's because I want to look a little further into what this thing is that we all kind of want to jump on board or go through the door of,
Yeah.
which is the big business, the big show. And there's bands that have strived for years and years and years and years to get through that door. And you guys found your way in, and you have a good look of what it was like on the inside.
Yeah.
And to me, that's fascinating.
Luck, sounds so philosophical. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I had a boss that said that one time, sales boss. I thought
What
it
a
was
dope.
really good.
Shut up, old man.
Yeah, right. But he's right. I mean,
Yeah.
we worked really, really hard, but we got really, really lucky.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we were in a position, because Nirvana got big.
Yeah.
They were looking for bands. They were looking for bands with street cred, and they were looking for alternative rock bands.
Yeah.
We fit the criteria. We took one trip out to New York City.
Yeah.
And got signed as a result of that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
One trip, and our who later became our manager, Sam Kinkin, good friend, Iowa boy, works for AEG Live now out in LA. It's a crazy story on its own, but he said, "You guys have no idea how rare that was."
Yeah.
He went with us on that trip, and we
That's
went
a
out to
trip.
New York, and we tried to hustle. We called the record reps and told them to come out and see us. We put together a showcase. We played CBGB's.
Yeah.
One
couple
time
times.
out, we were 22 years old. You
Yeah.
know, our first trip out to New York in a van, just on our own, let's see how this goes. And that, as a result of that, we met who became our entertainment lawyer. His rep was out looking at the shows. Roberto, you guys know Roberto?
Roberto was on another radio station called KFMH back in the time. And now, did he have a show
off the beaten track?
Off the beaten track.
Yeah,
that's right.
After Mary of the Heartland handed it over to him.
Right.
He called some friends out in New York and said, come see the boys. They're going to be out there playing.
Gotcha.
And thought, well, it'd just be somebody in the audience was connected, to the right people. And then next thing you know, we got a call and said, or she handed us her card and said, my boss and I want to take you out to lunch tomorrow. This was our last day of the 3-date tour that we had out in New York. We played Ludlow Street Cafe, we played Hoboken, and we played CBGB's.
Wow.
And it was CBGB's, and there was a couple other bands on an audition night. And she gave us her card and said, my boss and I want to take you out to lunch tomorrow. And so we thought, we'll call her. We'll call her. We were ready to go home. We were ready to take that, 18-hour drive home.
Yeah.
And we're like, should we call her? We debated it. And we're like, she said free lunch.
Where did you eat? Where did she take you?
She canceled lunch.
Oh.
We got to the office.
I don't remember
47th floor of Carnegie Hall.
Jeez.
Up above Carnegie.
Right.
And we could take the elevators up, and it's gold records on the wall.
Right.
I mean, it's total have a cigar.
Yeah.
We walk in, these Iowa Midwest boys, and we're like, what is this? And what they're explaining to us what entertainment lawyers do. And then they took a call, and they said, Odious Prime is on line 1, Alex, and she went and took it. And Wes and I looked at each other and said, why does that sound familiar? They were one of the bands playing the same night we were. We're like, do they just call in every band and have them come, come in and talk to me and the boss, and we'll take you out to lunch.
It's like everyone's Edward.
Yeah, but she was legit and got us connected with an entertainment lawyer who then arranged showcases and further dates out there. So we came back out to New York probably 4 times before they put us in front of Seymour Stein.
From Sire Records.
Yeah, who I later found out only signed us because Atco East West had signed another band that Seymour was looking at, and at the time there weren't even cell phones at this time.
Yeah.
But he was on an airplane and got a call somehow on an airplane over to England, heading over there to go to his office, and they said, "Hey, I hear Atco East West is looking at your boys at Tripmaster Monkey." We knew nothing of that.
Okay.
And he said, sign him. Got off the phone. He said, sign him up. Give him a deal.
Buy,
Seymour Stein. Right?
Totally how it was, man.
And
it was crazy.
That's crazy.
Our A&R rep had to convince him a little bit. She said, you know what, Seymour, the replacements are done. Because they were on Sire. She said, we need a Midwest rock band with some alternative, vibe and street cred or whatever.
Right.
And we had fooled them into thinking that we were that.
Good job, guys.
Okay,
Good
well,
job, guys. Yeah.
here. That's completely the opposite of what I thought.
Yeah.
Like anybody would be looking for a Midwest band. I thought it had to come from a coast. It had to be New York or it had to be California.
Well, I mean, you got to think about like Smashing Pumpkins from Chicago, right? I mean, you had
Replacements
Hum.
from
I mean,
for sure. Yeah.
Minneapolis Replacements.
Who's could
Yeah.
do all those
And like
blowing
Replacements, but not sure how many listeners are familiar with Replacements.
Yeah, I
But
know.
here's the greatest thing about the Replacements. Replacements were the non-hair band rock and roll band from Chicago, from Minneapolis, meaning they were everything a hair band was that I loved back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, Dawkins to everything else.
Had all the attitude.
And drunk and just
Legendarily drunk.
Yeah.
but they could just put on these shows, and so it was this kind of punk element. And I think that's kind of why, I mean, those bands like that really took kind of that music genre that we had in the 80s that kind of switched into this 90s, which had the edge, had the attitude.
Yeah.
It was just different.
They got rid of the pointy guitars. That's really what they did.
that was it.
I think that's what it is, man.
Yeah,
I really
they
set
went
the
to Gold
scene.
Tops.
Set
and
the
they went
scene. Set the scene for me. You're actually going to sign the contract. Who's signing the contract?
We signed contracts at Harris Pizza on Locust Street.
that's where I
We
worked.
made a drinking game out of it.
Yeah, we did. I worked at Harris Pizza. I said, hey, we're going to sign at Harris Pizza.
We sat around the table, and every time you signed a paper, you had to take a drink.
Take a drink.
Oh, dude.
It was about 120
I was going to say, dude,
Yeah?
You guys
Just
are
another
shit
picture.
hammered.
Did you know what any of them said, or did your lawyer tell you,
No.
this one means that you don't own your music anymore?
Well, first we had to sign the deal with the entertainment lawyer, and what they do is, and I had no idea at the time, they shop you to labels, and they were kind of modest about it. They said, yeah, you've got something here. Alex tells me your live show is fantastic. Not impressed with your recordings, and it's funny, here we are. 20 years old, and Jamie's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with the recordings? Why? He kind of started arguing with the guy. It was great.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But so they shopped us and put together showcases, got the A&R rep to come out first. And I think it was another show at CB's that she came and saw us and said, yeah, they're great. I think what really won her over, though, is that we went and partied with her afterwards. Our manager and the woman who later became our manager, she was friends with the A&R rep. And so we hung out in her apartment, and I think she just had a blast with us. I think we were just goofy,
It's not
making her laugh.
Well, you had that Midwest charm is what you had.
It is,
you know what I mean?
And work ethic.
So, okay, you're 20...
We were 21, 22 at
21, 22. I remember that age. And if you were putting a record contract in front of me, my head would have been, I would have looked at everybody like this from that day forward. Been like, what's up, man?
You know what?
Because back then being signed meant something.
It meant something.
It meant something.
And here's the thing, Brian. I mean, so no, but here's the thing. So in this, we'll call it a little alternative world of indie rock and lo-fi and screw the major labels and all that shit.
Do it
right?
yourself.
And
Yeah.
And we figured out who our friends were at the time because we were signing to Sire Warner Brothers. It was Sire Warner Brothers, right? And people are like, you guys are selling out, man.
Selling out?
Yeah. You guys are selling out, dude. What are you doing? And we're like, and it's funny because we sat there and we're like, what would you do, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to turn down, a 3-album record deal. I don't know. First album's $50,000 to do. They're going to give you $175 for your third. All like.
It's the start of a
no
career.
way, man.
Yeah, right.
I literally thought like, well, screw you, dude. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, no,
I don't know what you're
going to
do.
Deal. That way I can sit upon the throne of your esteem, sir.
Right.
Okay,
Marvelous.
so this deal that you signed with Sire Warner Brothers, was this the era where they were still fronting you some recording money or something to live off of?
Yep, you get a per diem if you're out on the road. It was $25 a day, which at the time you could live off that.
Sure.
And they
Okay, let's explain what a per diem is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get signed, and that means what? When you sign the contracts, that means that they want your material, they want to release it, and they want to publish it.
Yep.
All that stuff.
We went through a publishing company for that. You signed the contract to agree to put out material that then they will promote. That's the agreement between it, and they give you a big advance that you then have to recoup through your album.
What was
sales.
the advance? You don't remember?
Marty's better with the
I mean,
numbers
like
than
the
I am.
first,
He can count to one.
This dude can tell you like every band that we played with.
Yeah, right.
But
he doesn't know.
Wherever we've toured and the name of the bar, but I think it was like 50. So yeah, they gave you album budgets, and it was $50,000 for the first. I think it was like 100 and something or something for the second, and then the third was a little more.
Yeah, the total contract was like $250,000.
Yeah. And so basically what we thought was like, well, we'll just be stewards of the budget, and we spent our money on the first one. The second one, we did okay. And the third was, we said, screw it, man. We're not going to go to a big studio. We're going to take that $175,000.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to invest it in our own studio in town.
Cool.
So that's what we did. We spent a whole summer doing what a band like should do, which is writing in the studio.
Now was that the album Practice Changes?
Practice Changes.
Okay, because I remember hanging out with you guys a little bit during that time
With
because
Stallion,
we were all practicing down at the Slow Fish.
That's right.
That's where you guys
That's
had
where
stuff.
it was.
And that's probably where I hung out with your bass player the most, which, I mean, I barely feel like I know you guys compared to all the hours that I
spent
sat
with Wes.
talking and listening to Wes.
Wes is awesome.
Yeah, I got close.
Have you ever
with
played
that
him
guy.
in chess?
No, he probably
The
would
guy's
mop
a chess
the floor with
champion.
me. Yeah,
I
it's because he studies. He's that
Dude.
type. He's an engineering mind.
So what Wes, somebody was telling me this, we do this camping trip every week of guys would get back together, musicians
Every year.
and
every week.
sorry, every
I was
year.
gonna say that sounds like a boys' club.
Or
right?
every year. And it's actually Chris's bass player in Crash. He goes, yeah, I played chess with Wes once, and I made 2 moves, and Wes looks at me and goes, all right, so I'm going to beat you in 4 moves.
All right. It's
like, and he just kind of sits back like,
That's right.
all right,
But that's
anyway.
the dude.
Okay, so
That's the dude.
So
studied.
So yeah, you get advance money, and then you go on tour, right? And so when you go on tour, you book whatever. I mean, we did 2-week tours. I think the longest was what, 7 weeks? 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
And they basically say,
"Are you watching Joe Rogan over there or something?"
and they basically say, he's going to give you live action video of all these stories.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have to edit this at all. You're just going to hold up pictures that correspond with
This
it.
is Marty talking about this right now.
Do you have a collection of time-honored scratch and sniffs?
Yeah, right. No, but so when you go on tour, they basically say, all right, well, how many dates are you going to go? How much expense do you need? And you put together an expense budget for these guys.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a dildo microphone.
I was going to say, your
Rob
penis
made
is
that.
on your left thigh.
Rob made that for me.
that.
He said, if I made a microphone that looked like a dick, would you sing through it? I said, hell yeah.
But you're just holding it. You're singing into a
It's
mic.
the only photo that exists.
Okay.
I gave the press gold. I was like, I'm up there going, and I'm like,
Now-
no one got a shot of it up to my mouth.
Now, would you say that microphone was omnidirectional? was it
You
cardioid?
sound like Rob now.
Totally right.
Was it figure of 8?
Did it make you sound like Urethra Franklin?
Whenever anybody would come close to the stage,
There's
and be
a
like,
great picture of Rob making that dick mic, and he's got a drill, and he's got like a shirt off.
There's
and
no
short.
picture. There's no picture. It only exists in
Oh, I
my
thought I
mind
saw it.
because
Okay.
no, I've described it so well that you probably think
a picture of it,
I
dude.
wish there was a picture
Okay.
because it would be art. He had his shirt off, a pair of cut-off shorts, and he was drilling a hole in it. So imagine this: he's got a penis dildo in his lap. It looks like he's totally naked, sitting on the ground, drilling a hole in his own penis. And I looked at him, and I was smoking a little bit, and I was like, Rob, I said, wait, act like it really hurts.
Right, yeah.
Start crying. And he goes, like this? Ooh. And I'm like, oh my God. And we didn't have cell phones, or I would have been like, I got to get this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was art.
See, that's lucky for you, because if you ever ran for president or something, that picture would come.
Yeah, that's it.
That picture would not come.
Yeah.
It would come up, in conversation.
out.
You guys were lucky because when you were touring and doing all that stuff, there was not cell phones.
That's right.
Nope.
That's
And
right. We're free.
I got away with a lot of stuff too that I'm thankful that there's no cell phones.
Yeah, we're free from our own
You know.
history.
I took
sure.
lots
kinda
of
nice.
pictures. I
It
had
would
the
have been
camera.
nice to have. I mean, at least a cell phone to advance
Yeah.
a show or be like, we're late. I mean,
It's
we'd
a
have-
mixed blessing. It's a
Yeah.
mixed
No,
blessing.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like-
social media, man. I mean, you think
Okay,
like
so
Ugh.
you get signed, you get your contract, and then you go into the studio to record your first record, or did they use the first the thing you already recorded?
No, so we did a whole. So we did an EP first with producer Mike McMacken. He was from Brooklyn. He did
5 songs faster than
no,
Light.
I'm sorry. What other bands did he do? He did
Bitch Magnet, Codeine.
Oh, he did codeine?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. He was cool, man. And so we did that at Catamount Studios.
Okay.
And
And did
Cedar Falls.
he do the engineering and
he did the engineering. He did everything. It was
and the
funny
mixing.
because Tom
Okay.
Tapman was not used to that.
I'm
right?
sure he wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm
You know
sure
what
that
I mean?
dude
And
was
Tom was like, "What are you doing?" And
yeah,
this was
it's like-
what was great. He told us, he goes, "Hey, get as many guitar amps as you can. Just bring whatever guitar amps you
Yeah.
can.
Everything."
So he took inventory of
Dave
the car
Reynolds.
amps in the studio,
Okay.
and
God, you guys were young.
That was our first show.
and so he all the guitar amps we brought all the guitar amps from the studio, and he literally made a wall
Right.
of guitars.
Guitars, yeah.
So what he did is he mic'd every one of them.
Right.
Rob. So he that's what he did. He's like, all right, this
Yeah.
is a clean channel, it's whatever.
Yep.
And then he literally took those guitar sounds of like 10 amps.
Right,
And
yeah.
just like mixed them all into
Yeah.
one giant.
Yeah.
It's cool, dude.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's actually not easy to do.
Right.
You really got to know your shit on
Yeah.
the levels.
But then you
on
know what the
phase
label
and
actually
all that
did
stuff.
is they put it out on a subsidiary over in the UK called See How Music, because
See How.
they said this to us literally. They said, you don't want to come out as a band out of nowhere all of a sudden on Warner Brothers.
Right.
They're like, it's just too suspect. You'll get persecuted for it.
Well, you got to respect your demographic.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
so
wanted I wanted to mention that when he was like, "Well, we need a band from the Midwest who has these characters." It's like, dude, they know the demographics of the rising tide of
sure.
people's taste. So, but anyway, please continue.
yeah, they put it out on a fake subsidiary. Not fake. I mean, it was created
yeah.
for
Yeah.
us.
Right.
Basically, we were the first release on See How Records.
Right.
And in the UK, it got traction.
Right.
We had Shea
So was
Records
Shea
put it out
Records
over
put it
there. And Shea was independent. Vanita, Nick, just fantastic fans of music that got with Seymour Stein, and he funded their label a little bit
Right.
at the time. And it got traction enough to the point that when we went to the UK, people were singing along with
Yeah.
the songs.
That's
I think
cool,
we
man.
hit like top 20 charts, whatever, college
Yeah.
radio
What a
charts.
trip,
when we
man.
went.
Yeah.
They
it
did
was
us on the
crazy.
Peel show.
Yeah, and it's
I mean, we
weird.
couldn't go to Kansas City. If
Totally.
people,
yeah.
you know,
yeah. You know, there are a lot of
It's
stories.
crazy, you
There
know
are a
what I
lot
mean?
of stories of that.
I don't want to sound bitter, but
but I am, so that's how
you
it comes
know,
out.
and I don't want to disrespect the music because you guys are very talented. But these stories remind me of, you remember when you had that friend in high school that their first guitar was like a gold top Les Paul?
Yeah, no, I know, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
No, I
like
know.
it was just kind of, it just happened, and
I
then
know.
everybody else was like, well, "I got a harmony," you know, and
Right.
it just seems like everything just kind of went in progression for you guys, just to get in the, you know, it just happened so
It
fast.
just happened so fast.
And then
for sure.
It was my first band
right
ever, and
Yeah.
I could not
I mean, mine too.
believe
I mean, really.
the path. You know,
Yeah, but at your age now, you know that was a
so rare.
I don't want to use the word fluke, but it was a rare
No, it was
occasion.
total.
I mean, as Chris was saying, like, you know, Nirvana and Nirvana paved the way for a
If it weren't
ton
for
of
that.
bands, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they ruined a lot of bands' lives.
well, maybe
yeah.
too,
You know, because
dude.
I'm on
I
the
mean,
other side
I'll
of
get
that
you
wall.
that.
They
For
killed,
sure,
they killed
man.
the hair
I mean,
bands.
yeah.
they did.
wiped them right out of the charts.
Although,
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of the advantageousness of a phenomenon like Nirvana, I think, had something to do with the fact that it really kind of came from out of nowhere as far as
For
the way
sure.
that a lot of these tastemaker
But
type
that's what they were
personalities
looking
were.
for.
So
But
that,
at the right time.
For
well,
sure.
it caused them to realize that their own sense of style had essentially betrayed them, and now they were scrambling to see if they could find something, anything.
Right.
I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad.
yeah.
They
I
threw
don't know
everything at
anything
the wall.
anymore. Just
Yeah.
get it all. Get it all.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the labels were definitely doing that.
they
I mean,
were.
Sign that Tripmaster.
we were in a
I
studio.
told you, I've said this story on Minor Disturbance Radio before, and maybe there's some new listeners that haven't heard this stupid story, but I remember seeing Nirvana on MTV for the first time in my
120
one
minutes.
room, in my one room apartment, efficiency, you know, just out of high school, and I'm sitting there in front of the TV, and I remember him saying something about Eric Carr from Kiss dying, and then they were this new band from Seattle, Nirvana with Teen Spirit or whatever, and I was
Yeah.
like,
What'd you think?
What is this? Well, I'll tell you what I thought of it.
Back off, Sonny boy.
Because I had just put down my Charvel Model 2 that I was playing through a PV Bandit, Charred in my one room. I'm gonna make it someday, man. I'm gonna be the next big thing. Put the
Right.
guitar down.
Right.
I'm gonna watch some MTV, see what's happening.
Right.
And they talk. This band comes out, and I immediately thought, seeing them and hearing the guitar tone, I was like, "Oh, these poor kids. They
Really?
don't have good gear.
Oh, yeah.
and they don't even have any stage clothes.
Right.
They can't afford
But they
leather
were
pants.
headbanging like a mother effers, right?
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
I was like, they
were-
haven't had a
Dave Grohl,
shower.
dude.
This must be what it's like in LA. They haven't had a shower in a month. These poor kids. And I actually thought about, give me the number for MTV. I'm gonna call these guys, see if they need a lead guitar player, because this song ain't bad.
Yeah,
They just need
yeah.
a lead guitar player.
Right.
You know,
Right.
get a picture of me with my Charvel.
Yeah.
You know, with my hands doing
Right,
upside down
right.
stuff. Like they need me, right?
And it's hilarious in the video. In the video for "Smells Like Teen
I
Spirit,"
was completely
Right.
oblivious to
He
what was
fakes it.
happening.
For sure, man.
he fakes it though in the
yeah.
video, and he's
Oh, yeah,
tuning the
yeah,
keys
yeah.
around and
Yeah,
shit.
right.
You know, and he's totally
There
making
were,
fun of all
there
that.
were fewer people that felt the way you did. That's a unique perspective. But there were some people who felt the same way that the Motown people felt when the Beatles came to America.
Okay.
Where they're like, we're in trouble.
Oh, well, it didn't take long.
Yeah.
It didn't take long because
Right.
I remember going to the record store and then Nirvana was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then there was the gold record, then the platinum record, and then
Right.
you realize that the change had happened. I was just too, I don't know, naive to believe that my kind of music has been eating itself for the last 5 to 10 years.
Right,
and I
right.
was too stupid to notice it, even though, you know, you watch Headbangers Ball and you're watching this stupid band like Nitro do the dumbest shit with the dumbest hair and the dumbest, and I'm like, yeah, this sucks, but is that where we're going?
Is that what this is? This sucks, and a kind of incredible, kind of Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of suck.
Right.
Yeah, this
Yeah, I
is
don't
not
know.
fun at all.
Yeah.
And then that's when the down, and then that's why
Yeah.
it took over
Changed
because
everything.
everything was either super ballads or just
Yeah.
over the top,
Over
too
the top.
crazy,
Right.
eat
Telling you.
itself. Let's overdo everything that
Right.
That
what
sound
was cool about
Janis Joplin voice,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
And,
screaming.
and I think
Yeah.
for the major labels at that time, you had a lot of indie labels that were, you know, signing these guys and not giving them anything.
Sure.
But they figured out, oh my God, what's this Nirvana? And then they looked beneath, and it was like, look at this pool.
Totally.
Now let's
of
think
the
about this.
same kind of thing, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, Let's get them. And they're not giving $1 million deals. They're like, we'll give you 50 grand.
Sure.
You know, we'll
Unless
sign
you're
you for an
Helmet.
album.
Yeah. And we'll
you
own
know,
your
or
shit.
One of my
Because-
favorite bands of all time, Queensryche, is from Seattle.
Right.
And they made their mark doing that, like Operation Mindcrime and all
Right,
that stuff.
right.
And then literally 5 years later, here's Nirvana.
Right.
And the disparity between when they must have been playing, like Queensryche was playing clubs in that area.
Right.
And then there's these other bands that are in the rooms doing something completely different.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even like a smooth transition.
No.
You know what I mean? It was just like Queensryche super polished, you know, high opera vocals, and then
some
Nirvana.
lo-fi people with
Allison
gear that
Chain.
looks
That's what I
like
mean,
it's
though.
ready to break down.
Pearl
It's
Jam.
out of tune and
But-
like what's
This is a metaphor,
I get it.
though. This is a metaphor for Brian Miner and Travis Williams sitting across the table from Marty Rayhons and Chris Bernat. Because the truth is that same like division between worlds,
right.
absolutely had been going on in our scene here.
Sure.
Like the indie rock guys and the heavy metal guys, like operated in different spaces.
But
Like
what's
we were.
interesting, we have roots in some of the metal. We were Iron
of course
Maiden
you do.
fans.
Okay,
Of course you do.
Then
Yeah.
let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
Chris Bernat.
Brian Minor.
Have you have
Striper.
Damn, he got me.
Yeah.
He got me.
Just say Striper.
And you know what I was going to say? If you weren't so damn world famous, I would have been pissed about you being on your phone. But I was like, yeah, he's probably, you know,
I had
doing a
answered
record deal. Or
Jamie.
something. Yeah.
Tripmaster. He's
Okay.
like, yeah, I watched the video. Yeah, it's great. I dig it. Do you guys think we should? And I'm like, dude, we're in a podcast. I'll get to
Yeah.
Let me get you hold of you later.
But do you?
That's the
I
I'm
know-
sorry. That's the second time you've characterized Jamie as basically Edward G. Robinson, and that's why I'm trying to figure it out. Is Jamie all like, yeah, I'm gonna play the guitar, Sam, yeah.
Marty, you admitted already between the radio show and the podcast some of your 80s things.
I was
But I wanna
totally a
know-
heavy metal dude.
I'll
Jamie
get-
was too, man.
Yeah.
I'll get to
Jamie
you.
and I were okay.
But I want to know, like, as of right now, Chris, everybody's got their music collection. Is it on your phone? Is it on your iPad?
Vinyl. I got a stack
vinyl.
of vinyl. Yeah,
All vinyl. You don't have any
I've got
CDs?
CDs. I got a ton of CDs.
Okay,
but
so-
I kind of only started buying vinyl as of the
Did
past
you
5
buy
years.
Motley Crue Shout Out the Devil?
I had it.
You had it?
Had it. Yep.
And what'd you think of it?
I thought it was
I had
pretty
it.
scary.
I loved it.
It was
The first
scary?
First time I heard it, it was in
freaking
7th grade.
brilliant, man.
What did you
Yeah.
think of the whole hair
Fucking
metal
amazing,
movement,
dude.
though?
I was into it for a while. You know, when we were in 7th grade, you know, you're what, 12 years old? And guys were listening to AC/DC, Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, that intro. What is that called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That backwards, in the beginning.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like,
In the
what
beginning.
is this?
Yeah.
These guys are loving some Satan. I'm like, this is badass.
Yeah, dude.
And it's so fuck you to your parents and
Yeah.
everything else that I couldn't help but think it was great. I got into a big Van Halen phase for a while, too.
Dude, I love Van
Now,
Halen.
how old
I
were
still
you
love
when
Van
you
Halen.
heard the Motley Crue, though? You were already probably 20.
No,
that was
No, I was-
shit. Dude,
we were in
that
7th
album was
grade.
like 12. I was
84.
12 years old.
I was in
man.
7th grade.
14.
Okay, we were
Yeah.
12.
83, 84, something
Well,
like that.
you're older than I am, right? I'm 46.
Yeah, I'm 49.
Okay, so when Motley Crue hit me,
Yeah.
I was at the perfect age because I was hearing that and looking at the gatefold
Yeah,
of
sure.
how they looked, and
Yeah.
I was still like, still ain't Kiss, man, still ain't Kiss. But
Well, dude, I mean,
it's
so
kind of Kiss light.
You were the same way
kinda
I
Kiss.
was.
He's
You
all
were
like,
the same
that
way I
chick is
was.
kind of hot.
Because, we love,
Yeah, that blonde is pretty hot.
They lost
little
my
titties,
Poison.
little
Poison's
little
where I
titties.
dropped off. I'm like a little too big.
Yeah, so
funny.
I
got that back cover, man.
Poison.
Yeah, I was like,
dude.
what?
I
I had to,
dug
like,
Poison, I
scrub
dug
myself
Doc,
with
and
a
I
wire
dug Rat.
brush.
I'm
I
sorry,
dug it
what
all.
cover? Poison. Speak clearly. Oh, that one? Yeah, I remember Co-op
with
used
the
to be.
cat
Was
dragon.
it Co-op or what was it at South Park Mall? As you come in,
Record
you've
bar.
got the place you can buy
Record
diamonds
bar.
for your girlfriend and make a huge mistake, or
Music
you
Den.
could.
Music Den.
Was it Music Den?
Yeah.
To the
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Music Den.
And I went.
Buy what for your girlfriend?
I saw that record
Diamonds?
propped up in there, man, and I was like, "Whoa!" And like my little 14-year-old
Your little
penis was
twanger.
like, "Whoa!"
And you got
just
closer.
kinda like-
But I look at it now
just
and I'm like,
kinda,
how
like,
could I
turned
think
over.
that was chicks? How could I possibly
look like
it
Phyllis
was-
Diller.
I mean,
You know why? Because the 14-year-old dick don't care.
That's
yeah,
right.
because CeCe DeVille looked like Phyllis Diller.
he did, dude.
I was like, well, one's name's Bobby.
like Phyllis Diller.
I put on the album and it was all like pennies from heaven.
Well,
But no, we've got roots in metal. I mean,
Yeah.
we all dug that stuff. Iron Maiden,
Dude, Jamie Tull and I grew up.
Go on.
So we grew up. We met each other in 6th grade, and we were both into Iron Maiden huge,
Rime of the
Rat
Ancient Mariner.
huge. Oh, dude, we
Love
were
Rat.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
what do you think of Rat, Chris? You're my subject now.
I liked him at the time.
Yeah.
I
At the
really
time.
Did,
When
yes.
was that?
See,
Like for 5 minutes?
Freshman year. Freshman year.
What changed your mind, though? What made you go in the direction?
I discovered in 8th grade the Police.
Oh.
Yeah. It took me a while to get to to understand it. Yeah.
So, I grew up, so I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And I tell people all the time, like, I had older siblings. And my brother Mitch, who taught me how to play drums, he was in Razor Sharp and all those bands back in whatever, still plays in a band now. But anyway, so I'd go to his room and it would be Ted Nugent, Live Gonzo, Queen Live Killers, Journey Captured, Thin Lizzy, AC/DC.
Yep.
And then Jackson Brown, which was I love.
I still love it too.
Oh yeah, man, like that shit,
Brown, dude.
that shit. And then I was like, I'm gonna put that album down. I'm gonna go to my sister's room, and that would be Police Synchronicity, Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, right? And so I think for me it was what I loved about the metal music of the '80s is, and I think you skipped it, which is fine because it was all about the show and the big concerts and the big stage presence and Queen. I mean, come on,
it was arenas.
I mean, it was that, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was metal music was bringing that kind of like, oh shit, like,
the big.
Here's a big stage and another lead singer guy that can kill it, and whatever.
Yeah.
When I met him, he was like, "Hey, ever heard David Bowie?"
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Hey, man.
That dude with one weird eye?
Ever heard all this? So it was like, this guy was just still a creature of that kind of time.
Sure.
And I mean, there's music I love today that was completely because of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, anyway. But, the metal stuff for me was I loved it, dude.
Well, there was something about you guys. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you, but there was something about what you guys understood about things that maybe had to do with how it is that maybe it describes why it is that you could be into metal for a minute, but then be done with it and be on to other stuff. Almost kind of like in the same way that like people like David Bowie were this crazy androgynous thing, and then they threw that away.
Chucked
it. He threw it away, chucked it. Whereas it seemed like there was some sort of like almost militaristic honor in hanging on to the metal facade for a lot of the metal guys. We figured it was almost like a betrayal if you went light, if you didn't,
I remember we were in Boston.
Sorry, I was having a hard time talking.
That's all right. In Boston, we were doing the first album, and we were doing phone interviews, and we called CMJ called us. The College Music Journal was a big thing back then, and his name was Weindrich, I think was his last name, and he was talking to each of us, and Marty was on the phone. I remember listening in, and he asked Marty like, "So what kind of stuff are you guys listening to?" And Marty said, and rightfully so, Chris is really into Genesis right now. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, because I was obsessed with it.
Obsessed.
For a good couple of years.
That shit is so fucking good, though.
But the guy...
I was ready to kill him.
But the guy actually said this. The guy said this to Marty. He said...
No, there's something there.
He said, well, do you know it's not really considered cool or kind of in fashion to like bands like Genesis? And Marty's response was, yeah, we really don't care.
Really?
He said it's what he likes.
It's what he likes. That's
I remember thinking, right on, Marty.
Yeah.
Way to tell that guy.
Well, yeah. But I think that's an assumption, though.
I want to go back to what you said, Travis, because you said something rather interesting, and that might be your perspective on the whole holding the flag for the old school metal.
Sure.
I'm not sure that that's what it was for me. I think that in your formative years, when you latch on to whatever that fantasy is of that's what I want to be, that's your team. That's your brand. That's you believe in that more than you believe in anything, and that's why you hold on. It kind of embeds itself into you, and then it kind of makes you blind to everything
part of your
else.
Threads, man.
I think that's true.
And I guess I was really oblivious to it because I heard Bowie, I liked the Police, I did all that stuff too, but that always just sat backseat because you can't stand up to the stuff that I'm into because there's so much power and presence to it. It's holier than thou. It's godly.
See, and maybe that's what I was speaking to. Like maybe there was something about the aesthetic that in order to really commit to it, like it demands something of you that maybe is a little different than that other thing. And other people could chuck it, but I just couldn't let go of it for quite a while, a long time.
Well, it's what appeals to you. It's who you identify with. I mean, I remember Prince was huge at the time, and I totally respect Prince now, but back then, I remember reasoning this years later, I could not identify with a short black man that was all and sexy because I was not that. I was a skinny white guy.
Right.
You know, and so what appealed to me was this philosophical Sting guy that's talking about Lolita and Nabokov and all these deep synchronicity, Ghost in the Machine stuff.
So that was your Queensryche in a way.
Totally,
Because
man. Totally.
to me, that's what I was attracted to in the metal music I liked. It wasn't the party and the banging chicks.
No. Right.
It was the let's talk about politics and the whole Operation Mindcrime is like my Bible as far as what metal should be.
Manifesto.
Yeah.
Well,
and
it's funny too when you think about, going back to my thing where I'm like, I love the big show. Like, I mean, again, my brother introduced me to live records. Ted Nugent Live Gonzo.
Frampton Comes Alive.
Queen Live Killers. Frampton Comes
Come
Alive,
on,
right?
man.
Kiss
Yeah.
Alive.
Not that. But he should have.
Whatever he said. He said
Kiss
He
Alive.
should
Kiss.
have.
He skipped Kiss.
I'm not a hater.
He skipped
I'm not a
Kiss.
hater. I just
just never
I didn't
hit
have
him.
the influence.
It didn't hit him, yeah.
But I loved that live. Like, you would watch, Freddie Mercury on stage and just be like, what is this guy doing, dude?
Yeah.
He's got everybody's balls in his hands,
And
right?
I've seen two Queen live concerts where he didn't have them in his hands at the beginning of the show,
and
but by the end, he had it. Yeah.
So then I love that, right?
Yeah.
And then here comes this MTV video of U2
Yeah,
at Live at Red Rocks.
Yeah,
and here
Denver.
comes this guy. I was like,
Yeah.
who is this band? And this guy's got this flag and he's got this crowd and I'm like, who's this dude?
Yeah, we all
and I
fell for that.
immediately was like, dude, these guys are cool. And it wasn't about the songs. I mean, the songs are great. They got me into it. And it wasn't about the skill or whatever. It was just about the presence and the show and what a band could do to take people and grab them by the balls, man.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Grab them by the lizard brain.
We didn't discover punk until retrospectively after we'd gotten into the REM, the U2, the Police, and then worked our way back. And punk was this thing.
That was the proto version of what those guys did.
We were in our 20s by the time we figured out even what the Sex Pistols had done.
Right.
I want to digress a little bit and get back to the whole Tripmaster Monkey experience because as I'm sitting here, I keep forgetting that I'm looking at some people that you did some extensive touring while you were signed to Warner Brothers or Sire. So let me ask you this. At 21 and you're out there touring on a major label, right? And you're all of a sudden being asked to maybe sign records, that type of thing. Was that happening?
A little bit. Yeah.
What was that feeling like to go from like United Township High School as a normal schlub, and then all of a sudden you're this
so gradual.
Yeah,
it was so gradual. I mean, it's step by step. You it's like, oh wow, our biggest goal when we were 20 was to play Gabe's. That was our biggest goal. Was like if we could play Gabe's, boy, we could really have something, And then we got to do that, and so then eventually we played one show there, and but we needed to develop a following in Iowa City, so we went to the Yacht Club and started playing there, and then built a following there, and then got asked to come play Gabe's because we could bring that. So it just kept like step by step. I mean, we were together 10 years. From the time we were in high school to the time we broke up, it was a 10-year span, and so a lot. Of gradual moves, and then you get signed, and then it's okay. Now we're going to do a real tour. Oh, we're going to trade out the van and get a camper.
Right.
Okay, so you toured in a camper?
We did a van first.
So
you built a loft in the van. Dave Berg from House.
So all of you lived in the van on the road
at first.
Hotel rooms and people's floors, man.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
And then, that was it. Well, they gave us tour support, right?
Yeah.
So here was a check. They'd say, how much is it going to cost you to tour? You're going to make this much money. You're going to need, here's your revenue. Here's your expenses. All right, well, your revenue isn't going to cover your expenses. We're going to cut you a check. And we would say, great. We'd say, well, we're going to need 2 hotel rooms every night or whatever it was.
Right.
And we would try to pocket as much of that money.
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there was one tour we did. It was like a 21-day stint out Seattle, from like Kansas to Seattle, all the way down the coast. I think we stayed in people's houses
the entire time.
Almost the entire time, where people would say, either it'd be Chris, Marty, or whoever,
Right,
shit, I went to college with you, or it was, hey, this girl wants us to come over and party at her house. I'm like, okay, cool, man, that's awesome, cool.
Yeah.
And then we go over there and we'd sit there and party for a little bit, and okay, well, we can. I got some floor space here.
Sure.
And, there's a couch here, and you guys got plenty of room, and You know, I mean, I've got a big bed. You know, Chris would be like, "Oh, that's great."
How much spaghetti did you have?
And right away, Jamie and I are like, there he is again.
Captain Kirk.
Then Jamie would be like, I can't stay here. They got cats.
And then in the morning, it was like we get in the van and like take off to the next show, and it'd be quiet for about 5 minutes, and then one of us would ask, "So how was it last night, man?" "Oh, it was great, dude. We just kind of cuddled. Oh, it was great." You know, Jamie like slap his hat down. God!
What are you talking about?
He's trying to change the subject.
Well, I mean, we had girlfriends, man.
Sure,
I mean,
sure. You were over the road. You were young then. Sowing your wild
That's
oats.
what you look like when you're sleeping.
Oh, my
You see my
goodness.
forehead?
Yeah.
There's a barcode on there.
There it is,
Okay.
yeah.
There was the Practice Changes tour. We did the tour poster, and I was with Jeremy Dedek, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't like my forehead," because it was a big, stupid haircut and photo. And I said, "Can you put something on my forehead?" And he said, "Like what?" And I said, "Barcode." So he took the barcode and scanned it off of our cassette and put it on my forehead. So the posters all had me with a barcode on my forehead, kind of sign of the devil and stuff.
Awesome, yeah.
And so on tour, every night, my friend Scott Landon gave me a bag of stickers, UPC symbols, that I could put one on my forehead, play the show, and then after the show, I'd take it off and stick it in the back of our trailer, and then write the town and the date. And I've got a picture of that somewhere. I can't find it right now.
He was the best at documenting stuff.
That's cool,
He used to
man.
do tour journals all the time. And
How many
wow.
years were you touring?
5, 4?
Probably about
4 to 4.
five or six, maybe.
Yeah.
How many shows do you think?
Hundreds.
Yeah, in the hundred.
I mean,
range.
yeah. It's funny, man. You see, there's like a video of us in England. We played the show there, and somebody videotaped the whole thing, and it's on YouTube.
Okay.
And I was watching it, I don't know, a year ago, and I was like, man, we were tight. Like this was like when we were just
At
the peak. Because we were playing all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And now we just get done playing a couple shows.
Yeah, right.
To support the new record, man. And it's like learning. I mean, there's definitely chemistry, but
Sure.
Jamie, Jamie doesn't play in a band every day, man.
Right,
He's not there, and it just takes time, and all of us.
I play my guitar once every 2 weeks.
So we get done with Gabe's,
How
our
it is.
last show, and
It's
it's
the
just
roof
like,
of the Slowfish building.
Oh, yes.
we get done with the last show, and we all felt like, oh, fuck, dude, like we were back in it. Like the Joe was there. There was moments on stage, of just like
where it happened,
and I'm like, oh, okay, now this is done. Like, oh, good,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
But what was great is the Gabe show was the third and final show, and I think we were on our last 3 songs, and it's sort of like we all felt unanimously like this telepathy of like, this is almost over.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Jamie got up and said something, thankful and thank you everybody, and this has been a midlife crisis dream of mine, and it was kind of like, wow, we all realized this is almost over. And I think we kicked it into high gear in those last 3 songs.
Awesome.
I ended up jumping up and grabbing a hold of the rafters on the ceiling, doing a little trapeze act.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wait. I'm picturing you up there like, all right, let's rock and roll, everybody.
right.
Are you guys really rocking now? Because I'm
really
kind of
hyper
excited.
Right, no.
You're just so soft-spoken. I can't
Dude,
imagine.
he's a different guy on stage, man.
Now,
For sure.
I don't want you to
Different
think I'm
guy
busting
on
your
stage.
balls or I'm trying to make fun of you, Chris. It's just the person that's sitting in front of me.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 I don't know why they got the photo album going on in there.
Right. It's going to be impossible to edit this.
It's like
people watching are like, I want to see the picture. And I'm like,
Chris
he won't.
seems to be looking down.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
He's kind of an ass in the interview.
I mean,
He's
he
just not even
really
paying
doesn't
attention.
care at all, right?
that's David Lee
you
Roth
go.
right there.
I'm high kicking it. Yeah. Somebody asked us about a show in Chicago. They're like, what was your favorite venue in Chicago? I said, the Metro. And they said, really, why? I said, did my highest jump kick. And I remember that.
Yeah.
When you guys think back, I mean, you guys are closing on 50 years old now.
Yeah.
And you were, when this was happening in your world, you were in your early 20s.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I know for me, it's hard to recall my 20s. What was going on. It seems like there's so much that's been erased, but there's certain pictures that just stick with you forever.
Yeah.
And for you, Chris, what what would be when you think of Tripmaster Monkey, because you probably don't think about it every day anymore, do you?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay.
Especially lately.
Okay. Well, lately, of course, because you're in it again.
Yeah.
But there was probably a period where your life kind of moved to the next chapter, maybe, and did some other music, but you didn't really think of that. If you think back, though, what snapshot immediately pops in your head when I say Tripmaster Monkey? What's the memory that's the most golden one?
That's hard. It's weird because it was a while after the band had broken up. I mean, I'm talking 10 years. When I had dreams of being on stage or anything like that, in the dreams, it was always Tripmaster. And here I was playing in Crash for, 15 years, touring with those guys. Yeah. And it was always Tripmaster. I think I finally had a Crash dream where it was like, oh, there's Paul and Kim. And then, and then
you made it.
Yeah. What are they doing?
And then we did these reunion shows. And now it's back to Tripmaster, because I had one just a couple days ago where I was like, where are we at? And then I was looking over, and it's Marty, Jamie, and Wes. And I was like, it's really weird. But to encapsulate it in one snapshot moment is really hard. I think I picture Stebb's Amusement in Cedar Falls. The stage and the walls of that place were so artistic and so detailed and ornate. It was a beautiful... mural all over the entire place. They tore it down.
Oh, wow.
And it was kind of our second home. Marty went to school there, and we used to play there all the time, and it was just such a home stage that we had to work to get into. Again, it was our goal, get a show at Stebb's. We got in on some all-day event where they had 20 bands or whatever, and we killed it. We weren't even that good sounding. The songs weren't that good, but we were entertaining.
Cool.
And we knew we were entertaining. And in that moment, it was like, okay, now we've got an in here. So that is just where it kind of all swelled. And we recorded the first EP in Cedar Falls. It was great to go back and play Dave Deibler's Club from House of Large Sizes.
When you look back at this, though, I would imagine there had to have been a time where you kind of realized and stepped outside of yourself and kind of looked at the situation and went like, whoa.
Yeah.
How did I get here?
often.
Well,
and what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So, and this is kind of a circle back to your question you had earlier, which is, what was this kind of moment where you thought, wow, is this happening? And for me, it was there was a very condensed period of time where we just did a lot of big things. So, one was playing in CMJ, College Music Journal Festival in New York, which is like 50 clubs, CBGBs, all these different clubs. You've got guest speaker panels. I mean, we saw Bowie speak there. Cool. We saw Lou Reed speak there. We didn't see
Brian Wilson.
You always used to say
although I thought we did in my dreams.
Brian probably thought you did.
Yeah.
Well, they had some really dirty weed back then.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, from there, and then we recorded for a month in Boston, and then after that we went to England because our EP was doing really well.
Cool.
But there was a point where, when you're talking about signing records and stuff, so Minneapolis was a market that took off for us. There was two alternative or college radio stations that were big in Minneapolis, and somehow we got in this debacle of like playing these two events, and the stations were kind of pissed off that we were doing these two events. Yeah. And probably more detail to it, but there was even an article in the paper about this. The one big event was at Apple River Music
Edge Fest
Theater at Edge Fest, and it was right out. I think it was in Wisconsin, right outside of Minneapolis, and we played with like Material Issue,
Violent Femmes,
wow,
Suburbs,
Edge Fest, straight edge.
It was Edge, like
Google
101 The Edge.
Oh, okay, okay.
Which was the corporate radio. This is where the controversy came in. Rev 105 was the kind of hipper, cooler station.
Okay.
We agreed to play a show for them first. Unbeknownst to us, our manager, who we later
or agent
parted ways with, said, "We'll take the bigger one. We'll take the bigger one." So then it was kind of like, "Hey, wait a second, can you do that?"
Yeah.
You guys agreed to play this, and now you're going to go hop over to corporate giant show,
right?
And what's funny is this was a lesson in marketing. There's no bad press.
Because
it was in the paper, and I remember feeling like, oh, I read it, and I was like, it makes us sound like jerks and this and that.
Yeah.
I talked to people at the show. They're like, oh, yeah, I read something about you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I saw you in the paper.
So this is a point where, Chris's brother lived up in Minneapolis at the time. We were playing Edge Fest. We go to Edge Fest. We play, and at the end of that show, it was a first like, hey, you got VIP and all the food, and we're like, oh, this is cool, man. All right, this is it. This is cool. And I remember you or somebody, I think it was maybe you were up by the front of the stage, and all these kids were just handing stuff for you to sign. Was it you? I think somebody came to me. I thought it was you. It's like, dude, this is great, man. Go up there and sign some stuff. I mean, I just went like signing. I'm like, this is it, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
made it.
like
This is
our lives.
And Chris
now.
one time up in Minneapolis, his dad's a pilot, a corporate pilot, and his dad was going to Minneapolis and said, you know, hey, there's an empty seat. Come up to me and you can go see your
Rob
brother.
went with me.
Dead end, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Rob
did Rob
and I-
go with you?
yeah.
So he gets into a cab, and
we were in
you
Jeff's
tell
car.
the story, yeah.
Yeah, we went up there for the day just to go check out the stores and stuff because my dad had a flight there. He flies Learjets. And so we went, and on the radio, they said, this was on the Cool station, they said, if you don't recognize this song in the first 3 notes, you haven't been listening to the radio lately. And they played present tense.
Oh, whoa.
And I remember that kind of like heartbeat of like,
Yeah.
did that just happen?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and we happened to catch it, you know, we just had the radio on. I mean, you do that in the car. And yeah, that was a moment where I was like, wow, we're kind of
This is kind of
doing
happening.
it.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. There was
That's cool.
there was literally a moment during all that stuff happening. I was like, I think this is going to happen for
Yeah.
the rest of my life.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first, let's talk about the first royalty check.
I don't remember the first one. I remember they would continue to come up, but they were like really small dollar amounts, like $1.25, $1.75.
And is that for radio plays or record sales?
not
It's
radio play?
So ASCAP, anything ASCAP is our
yeah,
royalty.
Okay.
anybody
So,
that pays into that you.
I mean, but then there'd be like these weird checks that would come. Like Chris would call me, like, "Hey, did you get a check for like $300 today from so and so?" I'm like, "Yeah." What's this all about? I don't know. Cool.
Let's
I'm
go
gonna
eat.
cash it, you know.
Exactly.
Musicians fund.
I'm
You know how much
buying
beer that will buy?
Yeah, no shit.
Pepper Jack's
right?
Grill. Meet me there.
But the ASCAP checks were a little bit there, and then it was
Yeah.
then you get like 49 cents, and I'm just like,
But I looked at W-2s from back then, and you
Yeah.
know we lived off about $14,000 a year.
Wow.
Each.
It's cheap.
Yeah, that's what we lived off of. I mean,
Yeah.
that was getting your portion of the publishing advance, you know, and a little bit here and that. That's how we lived.
Yeah.
And you'd get chunks of money and then have to live off of that for a while because
Right.
you didn't know when the rest of it was coming in.
Yeah.
And so it was tough. And $25 a day for food and meals. Yeah, that's something, but you also got to
can
pay
do it.
bills.
Now,
yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what the business, when you sell this many records, it equals this. Do you remember how many units?
No one knows that.
Nobody
no
knows?
one knows that
That's
formula.
not. Nobody can really tell, right?
That's to the point of algorithm.
Yeah, okay, that was
math.
before SoundScan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
where they could- being signed to Warner Brothers, you'd
Right.
think that there would be some checks coming in.
It was the form of advance.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
we'll
Advance
give you
money.
this much money, and then don't you worry about it. You pay us back when we sell your records.
right.
right.
Oh, but by the way,
Yeah.
only this many % of each record sale is going to go towards your recoup. We'll be pocketing the
Yeah,
rest of the
right,
money.
right.
And so then by the time that you actually
That's
begin
the thing,
earning
dude.
any money,
That's the thing is
Yeah.
that there's no clear answer to any of that shit.
Yeah,
and
no.
and at the end of the day, I mean, we don't own the rights to our albums. We don't. I mean,
Right.
we got a publishing deal that gave us a lot of money for publishing.
So when I
Yeah.
play Shutters Closed,
yeah,
you're not going to get anything
I
for
don't
that.
know. It's probably recouping. I don't know.
Actually,
I mean,
no,
it's
no,
probably
we
recouping
do.
that
We
money.
get mechanicals.
Oh,
from it.
yeah, we do.
And so it's weird how it's
Okay,
separate.
yeah, I have no idea about that. That's
Yeah.
the,
now mechanicals
That's the thing,
is,
dude.
is
That's
that
something-
machine that kind of looks like an old style
Yeah.
steam engine
Yes,
that fucks
yes.
your
That
asshole in
pays
and out
us.
with a
Feels
big
that
giant
pays us,
dildo?
yeah.
that's
Okay.
disgusting, Travis. I'm trying to,
I had to go there.
I'm trying to host a professional fucking podcast here.
You know what? Fuck your professional podcast.
We got Tripmaster.
Right in the cunt.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that having Tripmaster around, we talk about mechanical dildos? I mean,
Yeah.
it's wrong of you, Travis.
that
I
as-
was
put
being
that as the title of
metaphoric.
episode 88.
It was a metaphor.
That should be the name of a record, right? But the 17-year-old kids that got together at UT to start a band never even knew what a mechanical was,
No.
or what a royalty was, or what ASCAP was.
Business-wise, that was our biggest problem is we didn't have a mentor for business.
Okay.
Nobody
Right.
we
Which
knew.
leads me to my question. This is what I want to know, and then we can move on to just talking about music.
Sure.
But this is what I want to know about you guys who've been there, been through it all, and you're on the other side now, and you're kind of looking back at it. What I would say is the age that you're at right now, the Chris Bernat and the Marty that's sitting in front of me right now. If you could walk up to yourself at 17 and see yourself at 17 at the age you are now looking at yourself, what would you say to that kid?
That was getting signed or wants to be signed or
anything that you know now that you're going to tell that kid?
Shit,
a warning?
dude. I don't know, man.
I would say remember everything.
Well, I mean, it's a great question, dude, because here's the thing. We just came back with an album. We're not signed anymore. Nobody does this stuff for us anymore. We do it all, right?
Right.
I mean, we got this album that's done, and we are looking at, we've got some press people that were hired. We got some kind of Google algorithm people that are trying to help us with stuff.
Sure.
And the thing about it is, it's like, people don't really put out albums anymore.
They don't.
Like, oh, you guys put out an album. Oh, that's weird. And we're like, what do you mean? So all these things that they're asking us to do, like, well, it needs to be singles. You need to have videos. You need to have this. You need to have this content. It's so out of our realm, dude. Right. I mean, we're just like, we just want Pitchfork to write a freaking review on it.
Totally.
I mean, it's like,
so there's no plans to do a video or anything?
We've done.
I've got 5 GoPros.
We'd be cool.
I got some pretty cool transitions in Pinnacle Studio.
Dude, you should have done some live shows with us. That could have been cool, man. You've done some cool live stuff.
All these photos that I was showing you were because recently I went through a lot of our photos to send them to Jamie because he's going to have somebody arrange them into a video.
Cool.
So it's going to be old photos, new photos.
Very cool.
And a mix. Yeah, so that'll be neat.
Yeah, but it's tough,
we're looking at the record here. The new record that you just did is My East Is Your West. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's a Tripmaster Monkey title, right?
Really?
Because of course you're just kind of like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean?
It means a lot, dude.
It just means that the person I'm behind is actually following me the long way around the planet. That's
you
what
might think you're right, but I think I'm right.
Who designed the cover here?
It was collective. Every single image that you see on there is representative of one of the songs on the album in some fashion. And some of them are so obtuse you'd never guess.
Yeah, you never get.
But we know because we're like, well, let's pick out images for each song. The one with Jamie on his head, that was a photo I took on the way to England.
Right-hand corner.
Yeah. Okay. He's on an airplane, and he was stressed out and had his grip in his hair and stuff, and I just snapped a nice black and white of him, and I sent that in for Antidote Shuffle. Cause
I don't know if that's glaring off of there. I can always just put up the actual artwork, too.
Yeah.
Antidote Shuffle is a song about someone having a panic attack on an airplane, kind of. And so that one represents that.
Yeah.
The little drawing of the kid drawing, that's Letter to Dresden. Dresden, our 5-year-old at home, he drew that. It's me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and
awesome.
it ends up on the front and the back. New York, there's images.
You got Lou Reed.
Lou Reed, yeah.
So that's Lou Reed's high school picture.
With the bullets.
Senior picture. Yeah.
All right.
And that's indicative of Jonathan's song, which I don't even want to give away why that makes sense.
Okay, that's fine. I won't ask you that then, of course, because that's my job is to get that kind of shit out of you. But
yeah.
I'm not David Letterman, so let's go over some of these titles.
All right.
Summer Bummer,
Stunner version.
The Strum Stun what?
Strummer.
The Stunner version.
Or Strummer like a guitar.
Yeah.
But Jamie,
what kind of pot are you smoking?
Jamie threw that at us.
Pretty good shit.
And he said he said he wrote that as an opening song, which if you listen to it, it's like got Rush in it. It's got Spirit of Radio, YouTube, Pixies. It is an opening curtains, which if you look at the front, there's some curtains, red curtains.
Yeah.
That's indicative of Summer Bummer.
It's very David Lynch.
It's about seasonal affective disorder.
Sure.
It's a character that is out front and center at every show, either on stage or in the crowd, and just closes their eyes and goes nuts and has a great time. And then at some point during that same summer year, they go into a serious depression and don't leave the house. Yeah. And the friends all try to coax them out of it, and the person's convinced that everybody has moved on. But in the turnaround, it's or so you thought we would move on, but we don't. Saying friends don't leave you behind.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, and so that's the Summer Bummer.
That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting because Chris basically lives a block away from me.
Yeah,
and I know that after this podcast, he's probably not going to walk past my house anymore in the morning.
Why not, man?
Well, because I just feel like once I have a conversation with some people, they just
avert their eyes.
That guy ain't for me.
Uncomfortably.
Dude, I've never known Chris to ever do that to anybody, man. I've known this guy for a long time.
Not my style.
No, man.
Okay.
We're buds now.
It's interesting because our kids go to the same school, and that's how we kind of met.
I saw you at Roundup Day.
Right. It was kindergarten Roundup or unpack your whatever it was.
Backpack.
And, I was in the classroom and Chris was like, hey, man, what's up, Brian? And I was thinking in my head, I was like, that guy looks like somebody. Definitely looks like somebody. He doesn't look like a normal dad. That's not a normal dad.
Buddy.
He knows my name.
Yeah, he knows my name. So this could go one of two ways.
And then, of course, Brian's all like, hey, you.
Yeah. And then one day I was out here pushing my kids on the tire swing. And here comes Chris is riding. He's got the kid seat on the back of the bike, right?
Yeah.
And he's riding up on this on a bike, and you got the cool shades on that I can't get away with wearing.
White ones.
And they have color and stuff to them.
They're actually pink.
And he pulls up and he's like, hey, Brian. He's real soft spoken, and he's like,
my style.
we're thinking about doing some shows, and it all started coming together. And I was like, Tripmaster Monkey, man. And then I pushed my kids into the wall. Now I'm not even paying attention. I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice. And he said, hey, we after we do this run of shows or whatever, we want to come on your show. And I was like, you know about my show?
Yeah,
well, we're fans.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the show. I'm a huge fan of the show.
You're a fan of the show?
Dude,
That's cool, man.
I've loved the show, man. For a long, I just have to say that I've loved the show. It's funny. I've turned people on. I'm like, you got to hear these.
And they're like, shut up about it.
No, it's funny.
Oh, those guys are dopes.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's good yin and the yang, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
yeah.
that.
And it's
I appreciate that.
It's our town.
Who's the yang, though?
Hell, it's in my backyard.
Yeah,
Well,
it is. It's
but it was
back
beautiful to me because here's this guy that I'm talking to that's been through it all, and you know who I am, and I finally figured out what was going on. I was like, I know that guy's somebody. He's like somebody. Because you have the look that you've been on tour and you maybe did some crazy shit.
Yeah.
You just kind of got that kind of rocked look.
Yeah.
You not so much. You look like you might have worked
I'm
at a bank for a while. You'd never guess that you used to.
Corporate America.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But
You might have toured.
and I told
Like
Travis,
Bruce
I was like,
Hornsby or something,
That's why you'd make a great mayor, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
We've had a
I
theme
should've
song
ran.
forever.
I ran.
Marty for mayor.
I told Travis,
I'm
I
going to
said,
kick off my campaign here if I do that.
Grassroots.
you should.
No, seriously.
That'll give you some credibility.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be more than 5 people voting for me if we go on the show. Because there's a lot more than 5 people that listen to the show.
yeah.
There's like
Seriously.
7 or 8.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
cool. You've got a base.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
a
great,
little
dude.
bit.
It's
Well,
great.
I'm hoping that you guys can bring some new listeners to us.
Yeah,
and then,
for sure, man.
Out of the 100 people that would maybe watch it because you guys are on it, or however many people are, I'm just throwing out a number. 1% of them might come back for another one.
Yeah.
Because it's very subjective. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you had this person on or this band, and they
Yeah.
want to watch that.
Yeah.
And then they won't always come back for everybody, even though we're hilarious.
Dude, I mean, here's
And,
the thing. Listen, I mean, I first started watching the show, and first, like, the Barracuda thing kicked ass. The Synchronicity thing kicked ass. I don't know if you saw the Synchronicity
didn't
thing.
follow.
It was cool, dude.
Yeah.
So well done on all
Thank
that
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
But literally, I've been trying to figure out a way, like, I got to get on the show, but I'm not a metal guy, dude. And so
Right.
it's like, but it's cool. I
That's
love
what I'm
it.
telling
I
you,
love
the
it that
worlds,
we're
man.
here.
Yeah.
I know.
We gotta.
So I mean, I think
undivide
it's
the
great,
worlds.
dude.
Right.
I think
Undivide
it's
the
great.
worlds.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I had a metal guy messaging me earlier. He was like, "So who's on the show this time?"
Yeah.
And he's in a real metal band.
Yeah.
It's the guys in Saint October.
Oh, yeah.
they're checking on me, Dustin Liebert.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's Tripmaster Monkey. They're back from the '90s. He goes,
Yeah.
I know who they are, man. I know.
Yeah.
I
cool,
guess
though.
I just assumed that the metal guys, the young, because they're young,
Yeah.
that they wouldn't know. But they keep up with what we're doing,
That's
and
cool.
they heard the song, and so they know.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
It's kind of cool how like the newer kids that are being heavy and all this, they
Yeah.
still respect good
That's
music.
awesome.
It doesn't.
And that's what's
the ones
that's
I want to
what's
hang
about.
out with anyway.
For sure, man.
Right.
Well, dude, there's a lot of good music in this town, man. Metal, alternative. I mean, there's
You seen Closet Witch?
a lot.
I have heard of that band, and I
They are
think
badass.
I think I played a section of their song on one of our shows.
Go to a show. They will floor you.
know if I've-
Yeah.
Closet Witch is just animal, pure id.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Female lead singer, Molly is her name.
Okay.
Just like me, super nice and polite and kind when you talk to
Yeah.
her. Smiley, you could not believe she gets up and does what she does.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she pulls every
We're like-
bit of
Yeah.
pain and suffrage.
Condor and
everything.
Jaybird. You ever see those guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, that's
Dark Family.
Yeah.
There's still some good stuff, man, and there's just a lot of good music. But that's what it's about. It doesn't matter what you're playing, man.
In my mind,
you know what I mean?
It raises a point that you were talking about earlier. People don't make albums anymore. I think what's happened with a lot of people that are
Weird.
younger than us is that once you start going down the road of the of the fruit stripe gum musical experience, where you just pull a new flavor out of the pack and it's similar to the other flavor that was there, and it runs out in about 5 seconds. You spit it out and you grab a fresh one and throw it in.
Now I'm getting it.
You're right. Okay. when you
That's
start,
totally a great
it
analogy.
is.
Yeah.
So
And he's used it at least 150 times.
Well, the
too.
internet.
This is like the Trident gum like Super Saver pack, where it's like, it's too much stuff. But
a never-ending gobstopper.
no, but
Yeah,
what I was
right,
going to say
right,
about
right.
that is that what has happened though is that even though like people like us and people like you, we may have gone through these periods where we had hardcore genre allegiances and all this kinds of things. Like the kids, even though they might dress some certain way, God, they listen to everything.
Yeah, that's cool.
They listen to everything. They love it all. And they actually have trouble then differentiating the difference between old music and new music a lot of
yeah.
times.
See that. It's
It's
gotten
just
to that
all
point.
a wash of stuff that
I
they can
agree.
get their
Yeah.
hands on. It's amazing.
Imagine the catalog that they have.
Right.
It's
And,
incredible.
when
Yeah.
you and I were coming up and this metal thing was
Rock and roll was
relatively
only
new.
30 years old
Yeah,
at that time. Yeah.
it was unfolding in front of us.
Yeah.
It happened in the
right
50s.
before our eyes.
By the 80s, it was 30 years old. Rock and
Exactly.
roll,
Yeah.
you know?
For
Right.
sure.
And being this old sucks, but sometimes when I look at how what I experienced in the rock and roll realm of things, because it seems like anymore it kind of gets overlapped and it's a different mixture of things that already happened, but different percentages of this mix.
Right.
It's like rap
Different
metal,
recipe,
and then all
yeah.
these things kind of mix together. There's no new thing.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Do you take the guitars out, the drums out? Do you change it to this?
Yeah.
It gets ridiculous. Like, we're going to be brand new, and to me that means you're going to go away from the formula that's worked for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've always looked at it like, here's a 6-string guitar. Make
Right.
magic with it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Don't put more strings on it.
Right.
You can't change the
Yeah.
baseball bat.
Yeah.
You don't all of a sudden get a big
Yeah.
bat this
Right.
wide in the major
Yeah.
leagues, do you? You
Yeah.
get one bat.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
size, and that's
Yeah.
what you got. And the
Yeah.
balls, it's regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swing it harder.
Make magic with that.
Swing harder.
There's a set of rules.
Now you have pine tar, and pine tar represents effect pedals.
That's right. That's right, man. That's right. And then you can cork
Right.
the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's auto tune.
Well, Jamie
But no,
West,
you're right, though.
Jamie
Yeah.
West, Marty, and I are all big fans of the whole album.
Yeah.
The whole album, because
Yeah.
we didn't grow up in an age where you could grab a single online.
Right.
And download it and say, oh, I like that song.
Yeah.
I have a mix of, my Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
We're about the album. And that's why this album, My East Is Your West, I think it's the best one we've ever done.
That's great.
And before, I've been really humble about Tripmaster music and any music that I've done crash. Oh, thank you, this and that. But with this one, I'm full bragging rights.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is a kick-ass front-to-back album. There's a story there. It's somewhat linear, but it's not you're not stuck in it.
You're right.
But every song, there's not one song on it that I think is like, we probably should have left that off.
Yeah.
And other records, I can say that.
do you say?
Even at the time.
All killer, no filler.
Well,
Yeah.
Can we do one thing before we end the podcast?
Yeah.
And we might have to phone up for this too.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch the Shutters Closed video with you guys.
Okay.
And maybe have any commentary that you have
Yeah.
about what's happening and what's going
my
on and
God,
some
yeah.
memories of it. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you this.
Okay.
Rob Cimaresti's friend Chuck, who was a bit of a tour guy with us for a little bit, he counted that
Chuck.
day. He
Matt Clemens.
Matt
Yeah.
Clemens. He's
Yeah.
got
I
that
was just
kind
talking
of
to him
brain.
the other day.
And he said, we heard that song 175 times today.
That sounds about right.
This is the one that impresses people who are like, oh, you're in a band? I didn't know that. I say, yeah, they played this on MTV back when they played music on MTV.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is,
Shutters Closed.
Shutters closed.
and where is this?
Kimberly Pines.
Kimberly
Skate
Pines
Center.
skating rink,
Yeah.
man, in Davenport.
That's speaking of Summer
yeah.
Bomber.
Oh yeah.
We loved how the stripe in the back looks. It's all Captain America, like red, white, and blue there, and it's just kind of a neat design. We
Yeah.
tried to get Skateland and East Moline. They wouldn't do it, and then the one in Milan we went to check with them, and they said no. Kimberly Pine said, yeah, you can do it here.
So here's the greatest thing. We incorporated all of our friends for this video.
Okay.
There's Tom Makey, who's a very good friend of ours, being the skate distribution guy. Ross Hacker from Uncle Roscoe's.
Fancy shit.
And then we just did whatever you call it, a roll call or
Yeah.
whatever
There
you
you
call it, just
Yeah.
for people
Cattle
to
call.
cattle call.
there you go. Thank you, sir.
For people to show up and
The guy that produced the video, the director, his name is David Roth.
David Roth.
Is it no Lee in it?
No, and I was like, why not? And his production assistant looked a lot like Freddie Mercury.
Really?
David Augusta.
Yeah.
Remember he had that kind of overbite?
no, I don't remember.
So where
It's
are all
weird
the
that you
people,
remember
like
that.
you
The
remember
people
that.
skating around you, who are all them people? Just
They
random?
we put a call out. just to say, hey,
That's you?
that's me. I'm 12, man. Check it out. I know, dude.
A lot of our friends are in this skate.
Yeah.
I know there's Mark Rublin's in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rubles.
yeah.
Rubles.
Rubles.
Okay, we all know Rob Samarusti is Rocket Boy, right?
He's Rocket Boy.
He's the one at the end that lights the skates, or
Yeah.
the little rockets.
My regret is that I didn't take off the shirt that I had on because I had a T-shirt on that said "Property of Warner Brothers."
Really?
Yeah, and I wish I would have taken that off.
Damn it.
for
That
the
would have
video.
been
I
way
know.
cool.
I wore it, but I didn't flash it.
I'll be honest. When I found out you were Chris Bernat from Tripmaster Monkey, I went and watched this video again, and I'm like, you do look like 12 years old.
Totally.
I was like,
man.
that's not the same dude.
I showed people this all the time, and it's like,
Look at the clothes they're wearing.
I know,
Yeah.
man. Well, this is on 120 minutes, dude.
Was it?
Yeah.
Matt Pinfield.
Matt Pinfield, or
Yeah.
not Matt Pinfield, was it?
Yeah, Matt Pinfield was doing it, and Brett, the guy from Psychedelic Furs, introduced
Was the
us.
guest, yeah.
And he was reading cue cards, obviously, and he's like, "So here's another great band from Iowa." Who've been on the tour with likes of Belly and Afghan Wigs. I remember hearing that. We're like, we never toured with the Afghan Wigs.
Yeah, they'll just make some shit up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this was played on MTV then?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. In
twice.
fact, the first time I ever saw this was on MTV.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I was in a gas station in Geneseo, and a guy's like, "Were you in Tripmaster Monkey?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "I remember seeing your video on MTV." And I was like, "Holy shit!" This was like 15 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Here's Virtual.
I think
There
you
he
guys.
is.
There he is.
God bless him.
He built
We
that
miss him.
jetpack.
I know, it was great. He was so
There he
psyched
goes.
about building the jetpack.
He said to the director, he said, "Do you want me to make some funny faces? I can really make some good funny faces."
That sounds right.
Yeah, the director's like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly. You're a fucking human cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Rob was the best, man.
Yeah, Rob was the best.
Yeah,
man.
miss him. Miss him
me
every day.
too.
Yeah.
I think
But-
about him all the time.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, to have that be a part of your life and have a video you could refer to.
Yeah.
Other than, I put out a video, but it's all VHS stuff
Yeah.
that I
Yeah,
put
yeah,
cobbled together to
Yeah.
try to make it look like. But that's really cool, man.
I
You
never
guys-
forget it, dude. I mean, they brought this guy in, David Roth. I forget his name. It's like, and I remember it's like, we got to get this video out, and they literally would shoot the film. Then there was some dude in this bag that was, he takes a film from reel. He puts his hands in this bag, and it's all a dark bag, and he's feeling
right.
it around. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, I'm changing the reel.
Right.
And they were literally driving the reels up to Chicago
Wow.
to get them produced, to get on 120 minutes
Wow.
they just needed it done. It
That's
was so
crazy.
weird, but yeah.
That's crazy. Dark bag.
David Roth.
Yeah, one story. Our A&R rep said, "Hey, Lou Reed really likes you guys," and we're like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, he got a comp, one of the Sire comps, and he listens to it in his basement and loves Shutters Closed." And we're like, "What?" And A&R reps, by history, they're not always truthful.
Right.
Tell you what you want to hear.
They might tend to blow a little sunshine.
We went
up
back
the
to our
anus.
producers on a tour. We went to Fort Apache and saw Sean Slade and Paul Coldry, who did Goodbye Race. And one of the first things they said was, "Hey, yeah, thanks for getting Lou Reed to work with us." And we're like, "What?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you heard your song. And he did this great impression of Lou Reed. He said, "Man, I can't believe somebody recorded that sound."
So these are the same producers, by the way, that did the classic Creep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
produced.
Oh, they're the
Pop
ones,
Love.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a Creep. Yeah.
Great.
And they
I
did Courtney
remember
Love's record.
And
The
Courtney
big
Love's
one.
Right.
That video though on YouTube does not have the sonic appearance as the record version.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to go then illegally download that record so that I could get, because I wasn't going to play that audio on the radio.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's just that was some
$1.50
video
is
show.
good, dude.
That wasn't the actual
Right, it was
MTV.
recorded probably
Just
on
hand the man
VHS.
a buck and
Yeah.
a half, and we're
A
good.
copy of a copy, and we
Yeah.
all know what happens there.
Pack 'em
You can
up.
kind of see the tracking do weird shit sometimes,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of
Well, dude, I mean, if it wasn't for Google, I wouldn't. I don't own that video.
somehow.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know
really.
how
I
we
don't
used
own
to
it.
exist watching shit on a tube TV.
Right.
You know what I
Waiting
mean?
for it to come on.
And it looked so great when we were kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. And now it looks horrible. I mean,
I don't know. How long has it been since you guys went and fired up a DVD through an old cathode ray tube television?
I should.
There is
Do you have
something
one?
that's kind of fucking. It's almost like when you go back and you put the vinyl on, and for the first time in a while, and you're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, right.
Like watch a DVD DVD on an old TV, man. It's like, oh yeah, this does kind of kick ass in a way. I can't make out shit, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It kind of works, man.
I got to tell this story because it's one of my favorites, and we did a live diary reading down at Triple Crown. It was a year ago on Thanksgiving, close to it.
A live diary
Now that
reading.
sounds fun.
It was really fun.
actually a ton of fun. They just said anybody who wants to come and read a diary, your high school diary.
Experience.
Really?
It was funny.
The most
shit.
embarrassing,
Oh, I'll bet.
whatever
It
you
was
want to
great.
do.
I'll bet.
And I read the story that from my journals about us in Fort Apache Studios, where we went to record. We were there for almost a month. And the label put us up in an apartment, and we had our own apartment, and we had the $25 a day per diem. We were living totally like rock stars.
Yeah.
Doing our first major label release. The two producers that we used, not just one but two, Paul Coldry and Sean Slade, met us at the apartment, hung out with us for a little bit, had smokes and talked and stuff, and they said, yeah, we just got back from doing Courtney Love's record. Lived through this. And so they were telling us all these stories. They're like, oh my God, they're junkies, total junkies. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. I kind of read that, he'd quit doing heroin.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I don't believe everything you read, kid. And I was like, well, okay.
Jesus.
And so anyway, they said we recorded them because Kurt was in the studio with them and did backup vocals on her album. So I guess if you listen somewhere, he's on there. And they said we jammed with him. And they had a digital audio tape that they recorded without them knowing. Courtney
She
just
was in
being
the, she was in the she was in the vocal booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And took a break, right? And Kurt came in to say something. They're just like, keep it recording.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's just ragging on him. She's like, oh my God, do you have any idea what it's like to bleed from your crotch every month? And Kurt's answer was, yes. They were explaining this to us, and I was like, we got to hear this. And they're like, well, when we get done with your record, we'll listen to it.
Yeah.
And we're like, I was so excited. I would ask them almost
Yeah.
every day, and they're like,
Hey.
when we're done, we're pulling down the faders on the very last song, Is That My Baghdad?
Yep.
And I remember thinking like, wow, we've been here for almost a month. This is our major label debut. And I'm like, but fuck it, we get to hear those dats now.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. The owner of the studio came running into the studio, burst the door open and said, Kurt Cobain just shot himself in the head.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, literally. Like literally
He said,
right when we...
Courtney doesn't know yet. They're going to tell it. They had the same entertainment lawyer as Courtney. And so they were connected that way. And they said it had not hit the news yet. We went out and watched the TV, and it was
Put
still...
MTV on.
Yeah.
Unplugged was still in regular
Yeah.
rotation
Yeah.
on MTV. It was hours. It was probably a good 6 or 7 hours before it hit the
Whoa.
news. And we knew. And we're like, what the hell? And I remember calling friends and telling
Yeah.
them.
You're like, hey.
Yeah, so when people are like, do you remember where you were when Kurt Cobain got shot? I'm like, yeah, I got
Yeah.
a story.
Yeah.
So right away it was
Yeah.
like, so can we hear that? They're like, yeah, no.
I don't even think we asked.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not. We had to ask.
Play
way-
that tape now?
The way I ended the diary reading, as I said, then my dear good friend and supportive brother, Marty Rayhons, put his hand on my back and said, guess it's up to us now.
Oh man,
That's a good way to end the podcast.
that's a great way to end it. Thank you very much for that story. That was
Yeah.
brilliant. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't want this story to end.
Yeah. I'm like, this should have been on 97X.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
Belongs on my podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome, man.
But thank you guys for coming in and doing this.
Dude.
Keeping you up on a Wednesday night. I know we all have.
This
School
is
night.
great, man.
Yeah.
School night.
Appreciate you asking us. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
it's
were
awesome.
excited to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
like
I
was
told
excited
the
for you
first
guys
time.
to
Yeah,
do
dude.
it.
It's
Yeah,
great.
he was
Yeah.
super excited too.
Yeah, man.
Well, I've known Travis for
Yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, long
And
time.
I barely know you, but I know the show. And Marty and I talked about it. And we're like, we got to get on there.
Yep. I love doing this for this reason only. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have the opportunity to sit down. I have family and kids,
Yeah.
and I don't get to go out and have beers with people just
Go
on
to
a
shows
spur of the
all the
moment.
time.
But
Yeah.
I've somehow etched out a day
This is
to
great,
sit
dude.
with some guys and
Yeah.
talk shop.
Yeah.
And I have to call it a podcast. We got to put up cameras, and
It's the beauty of a podcast.
But
Yeah.
make a little money doing it, and then the wife lets me. So here we go.
That's awesome, man.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Please tell your friends about it. Hit the subscribe button if you're here. Thank you very much, Chris and Marty.
Yep.
It was a blast, man.
It's awesome, man.
Thank you,
Thank you
Brian.
guys.
Episode
Thanks, guys.
88 with Tripmaster Monkey.
Yes.
We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.
Peace out.
Love it, guys.
That was fun, dude.
Now,
That went in a million different directions, but that was fun. Your editing is going to be like a nightmare.